Hello viewers, welcome to SOTA MOTO. I'm Sota Smith, and in this episode we are going to adjust our fairing to fit over this new 7-inch black LED headlight assembly which we just installed on the 2017 Night Rod. Let's do it. Almost, and I think that perfectly captures what's happening with the fairing fit now that we went from the 7-inch black LED headlight and housing from the 5.5-inch which we replaced. Almost. Now as I lay this over the assembly, you can see that we're approximately 1 inch square. We're approximately 1 inch off the post for the fairing. And on the other side, really similar. Yep, about 1 inch. Now the challenge of this is we could potentially go back farther on the triple tree, the lower triple tree, and drill a new hole. Not crazy about that. Or our second option is to perhaps take an inch off the aperture ring, the internal aperture ring of the fairing, and I'm leaning that way for this install. So let's start cutting into a custom fairing. This should be interesting. Seems like it's going to be better suited for 2 people, just so I can measure the fairing, adjust the posts, and not take too much off that internal aperture. So I've invited my friend ex-Ironman to come over. Hopefully between the 2 of us we can get this fairing reinstalled. This is gonna be surgery, my friend, because we also gotta look at the clearance we have coming back. Loose. Yeah, they're supposed to be loose so we can kind of adjust them. I'm just kind of eyeballing what we got going on. I haven't trimmed it yet.
Yeah.
But what I was so focused on the bottom because it's about 1 inch. Here. My tape measure is probably over in the table, but I also have about 1 inch up here.
I mean, it's gonna tip a little bit more, but not much. Like maybe that much, but
see now the top of the assembly is not.
Yeah, you're way high. Drop it down a little bit.
Now I can maneuver the light a little bit, but I don't want the light pointing up too much. I wonder if because I just got it measured to the garage and it's shining at that height. So 8 feet away, it's about 3 feet.
Oh, that's probably okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can see it looks like. Is that headlight gonna fit in there? Here, let's give it a 180. Let's go this way. Will it fit over that headlight?
Well, I don't think it fits over.
Nobody wants to see a fat old guy.
Oh, no one wants to see old guys. 2 old guys. The magic number is 1 inch. We're going to take 1 inch off the custom fairing.
Where's the cutter?
It's not every day you get to cut into a... Ooh, I went through there.
Good. raining. Can't look through the windshield. Go ahead. Now you just got to break her loose.
I think I gotta go a little bit
down
deeper
here
on this side.
All right.
You know, we're always like dremeling stuff off of.
That's because you can't leave your motorcycle alone.
All right, dentistry work done.
Hopefully.
Let's see if the extraction was.
Maybe we gotta take more. Who knows?
It looks ugly. It looks like I chewed it off instead of dremeling it off.
off.
I was panicked because I saw a little white stuff. I thought we had scratched it. Where should I say I scratched it? Oh, baby. And oral surgery begins. Taking off a lot of material.
Back the edge again.
I don't want to go. I think it was fitting along the bottom, wasn't it?
No, it's trying to clean the whole thing up anyway.
Oh, yeah, this chews into it. Now, you know what they say, measure often. Just wanted to take a look at that. Look at that. That didn't even, that's the,
That's still in good shape.
yeah. Looks a lot better, doesn't it? I think we just take a little bit off at a time. All right. Got it level. Oh, look at that. I am. Wow, we're close, man. On this side.
That's on the same.
Yeah. Well, what's good is it doesn't take much to grind off of the material. I think that's the way to go, is just grind. That's part of it. Get this light forward. Look at that. I mean, we're almost there.
You get pretty close on the other one too. As a matter of fact, this one has got it forward.
So I think we just grind down a little bit more, not much. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Okay. Let's take a little more off.
Yep. The thing is, it's not totally square. This does have to be a little bit more. I'm thinking I'll just cut all of this to here. What do you think? Just grind it down to here.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. I think we're close.
Well, you know what they say. There you go, thinking again.
There you go, thinking again. Don't be doing that.
Make a suggestion? Yep. Put the back of that Dremel right down on top of the screen down there.
Oh, and just
And hold it.
then hold it.
And hold it square.
A little technique there. Oh yeah.
More of a pivot. Yep. You're not so much freehand and then.
Much more control. Yeah, the pivot move. Pivot move is working. The pivot point, or we call it the watch hand, right? Smooth as baby's bottom. If the baby had road rash.
Brain surgery.
That's scary when we're doing brain surgery. I'm thinking we can kind of finesse that. We're close. We're real close. But that headlight looks so much better than the old one. And the fairing is installed. So, what you will need for this installation, and this is really just fitting the fairing to the 7-inch light, is a Dremel cutting tool with the Dremel reinforced cutting disc. For finishing, you saw us grinding it down with this Dremel medium grinding tip. You'll need a pick measure, of course, and a lighter pencil so you can mark the inside of the fairing aperture. And the installation is done. I could not be happier. We took our time. We wound up cutting about an inch and a quarter off the bullet fairing, and then we had to grind it down. We did a little bit of a shorter cut on the bottom of the fairing and left a little more material on the top of the fairing so we could get this hooded effect, which I think really complements the bike. More importantly, when you look at the headlight, it is flush with almost flush with the aperture. It's completely straight. It clips in, and again, the tips on this, you know, if you're going to measure and you have to take off 2 inches, dial it back to 1 3/4 inches. Using the Dremel cutting tool, you can remove a lot of material, but when you get into the fine tuning, you definitely want to use the Dremel medium grade grinder to constantly just smooth out the inside of the fairing aperture so you can position the fairing. Another tip is when you get close to fitting this fairing, go ahead and clip it in place and start moving the fairing attached to the brackets up and down the fork so you can get the headlight positioned correctly. So anyway, a difficult install, but well worth it. Little patience, little time, and it turned out perfectly. So this is Sota Smith with SOTA MOTO. If you like the content, hit like, hit subscribe. More importantly, celebrate the wins. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. I'm out of batteries on the GoPro. The fairing is popping off the bike, and I lost the right side of the visor on a poker run. This is not even like an endurance race. So, alright, Murphy's Law. Got a half hour till the poker run is over. The fairing popped off right down the street here. It wasn't going very fast, but the whole fairing is unclipping. You can see it just unclipped right there. Right there. Made it the whole trip except for this last leg. And it's is not seated on there properly. But I'm at this crossroads, and that's where I ran into the fairing issues. We're approaching Eden Prairie right now. The fairing issues, in which I think we hadn't trimmed enough material off the Ghostrider Customs bullet fairing, which was putting a lot of pressure on the release latches, and they wound up both popping off. Fairing dipped down in front of me almost like a RHINO horn, and luckily I wasn't going that fast. I was only going 40-50 miles an hour, but it's still, you don't like seeing your fairing hanging on by the bottom pivots. So I went ahead this morning, got out the Dremel tool, reattached that medium grinding disc, and took some more material off until the fairing latches seated properly. So we'll see if I actually fix that issue or if it'll pop off again.